Hello and welcome to the woollentwine Fibre Studio YouTube channel. My name is Jule and I'm the dyer and maker behind woollentwine Fibre Studio, which is a small creative space located here in northern Germany where I play with botanical dyes and natural yarns. Welcome to a new video. Today I want to introduce you to a very new and super exciting project that I've been working on for the past couple of months. And yeah, as always, I like to do these kind of things in video form just to chat you through everything. Even though this time I don't have a whole lot to show because a lot of things are a secret. But more on that a little bit later. First of all, I wanted to say apologies for my absence for a while. I have had some challenges to face, let's put it that way, recently. Many of you will probably know what I'm talking about, but I'm going in depth a little bit later in the video. However, my summer was a bit different than what I thought it would be, and I hope to finally record a podcast episode about it so I can tell you everything I've been up to, show you some of my knitting that has been less than I thought it would be. However, yeah, I'm here. I'm finally here and I'm announcing this super exciting project. So I guess without further ado, let me start sharing what I'm talking about. I'm so happy to finally announce that I am doing a countdown calendar this year. You might be surprised that this is relatively late to the game compared to other yarn dyers and yarn brands. And that is because of the whole situation that the world is in right now, but I don't want to bother you with it too much and, rather share the exciting things with you. However, I thought I could chat you through everything that it's all about and tell you everything about the calendar in video form because I guess it's always a little bit cozier and nicer to chat than just having everything written down. Although, I will say, and I will link it up here, I have a whole info page for this project because there are so many details and so many potential questions that cannot come up that I wrote a whole page with all the info, summarized everything, and even added an FAQ section to this one. So if you're uncertain about anything, feel free to just check the page and, refer back to it. I will link it here and also in the description box down below. But without further ado, let me start sharing about it. So, first of all, what is a countdown calendar? A countdown calendar is a calendar that consists of different types of iterations, I will say, and it's supposed to accompany you while waiting for the end of the year and the end of year festivities if you're celebrating them approaching. So generally a lot of people are talking about an advent calendar when they refer back to a similar project. However, I don't want to limit this to the Advent tradition that not everyone celebrates over the world. So mine is called a countdown calendar because it should not be limited to people who celebrate Advent and Christmas. So yeah, in general, you open parcels over the course of December leading up towards any kind of holiday you might have, festivities, end of the year, whatever you might celebrate. And to make this time feel even more cozy and festive and joyous, there are these kind of calendars or countdown calendars that are supposed to just bring you a little bit of joy either every week or even every day. So how this works is that you're receiving a box of goodies, mainly yarn, and you're opening it either depending on what tier you're using. You can open one every day, every other day, or something every weekend of December. That's how it basically works if you're new to the concept. The colorways of yarn you will be receiving are secret, but they are kind of, a certain palette. I'm coming to that specific part of the palette and colorways a bit later, but in general you don't really know what's in there, so there is a bit of a surprise every day or every weekend, depending on what you prefer. And yeah, I guess without further ado, let me share what the theme of mine is all about. So the theme of my countdown calendar is heirloom, and that is because I really like the idea of sharing and passing on knowledge and passion, and the connection through craft and shared passion, because it also reminds me of a certain type of connection that we have as humans, and a certain type of togetherness that I think is very nice to be reminded of in the state our world is in right now. So I wanted to emphasize togetherness and connection and shared passion with this theme. And what I also found very fitting is that many people use countdown calendars to actually make blankets or larger pieces that consist of smaller pieces themselves, and then potentially inspired by like an heirloom quilt, could pass these on to, you know, later generations, friends or whatever, or cherish it on their own for a really long time. And I really like the idea of this longevity and also connection of an heirloom quilt. So yeah, this is the inspiration behind it all, and it also, like, it transfers through different parts of the calendar that I'm also coming to later. But for example, I also, you know, I wanted to emphasize the connection that we're having and, you know, passing on one's passion and knowledge to someone else with the goodies that I'm including in the calendar. I'm going to get to that a little bit later, but yeah, everything in this calendar is kind of tied together by this theme of shared passion, passing on knowledge and being together and connected through crafts. So that is the theme behind the calendar. And how all of this works is that the theme inspires the colorways and the goodies and everything, but there are certain ways that you can choose to your preference what you would like to get. So let me start out with presenting the different tiers we have for this calendar. The different tiers of the countdown calendar are quite a few, because I thought, you know, I didn't want to push you into getting something that, you know, doesn't feel quite right, and I wanted to give a little bit of variety. So there are technically 4 different tiers, but we also have different yarn bases, which I'm coming to in a bit. However, there is a 24 days version that has 24 20-gram mini skeins that you can open each day leading up towards the festive season. And this is like the big iteration with mini skeins. Then we have a tier with 12 20-gram mini skeins. Then we have one with 4 sock sets. They contain 4 sock sets of full skein of sock yarn and a mini skein of 20 grams for the 4 Sundays of December. And then we also have a spinning fiber option with 400-gram braids of spinning fiber that you can get to open each Sunday of December. So these are the options. So 24 times 20 grams, 12 times 20 grams, 4 sock sets or 4 spinning fiber options. So depending on the base you choose for your calendar, you can also purchase full skeins at a reduced price rate to go with the calendar in case you want to make, for example, a blanket with the mini skeins or something. And so you can purchase the full skeins as well. I'm getting to that in a bit, but first let me present to you what bases will be available. So for the different tiers, now it gets a little bit confusing, there are also different yarn bases that you can choose from, because I wanted to give you the option of choosing what you might prefer for your project. And for the both of the mini skein tiers, so both the 24 and the 12 mini skein version, you can choose between our Ovis sock base, which is our non-superwash plastic-free sock yarn, and our Heirloom 4-ply base, very fitting with the theme, I guess. The Heirloom 4-ply base, which is a fingering weight non-sock yarn. All info about the bases is also on my base page that you can refer here, and also linked in the info page of the whole countdown calendar project. But just as a little recap, Heirloom is a base that has been produced by the beautiful people at Jonabin. And why this base is incredibly fitting for this theme is that, and why it's also called Heirloom, is that the mill has very old machinery, and the knowledge that has been passed on over generations to process yarn with these machines is something that inspired the whole name and everything about the base. Plus, the sheep fibers, the Exmoor Blueface fibers that this yarn is made from, they actually come from the region just around the mill. So yeah, and they have a very old heritage and belonging to the region of Devon. So yeah, it's actually also kind of fitting with the theme, I guess, with this old traditional local breed that is used in this yarn. So yeah, Heirloom 4-ply. It's 400 meters per 100 grams and is a 3-ply construction. So it has 3 singles plied together into a fingering weight yarn that is, I would say, very versatile for any kind of project. So you can use it for either accessories or garments. I've been doing that myself, and I have a lot of new samples to show in this yarn even. So yeah, that is all about Heirloom. And then with Ovis, this is our trusty and, you know, very well loved, if I may say so, sock yarn, which is non-superwash and plastic free. Has a slightly higher twist for durability and is a 375 meters per 100 grams. It's available in 2 colorways, which I will also show to you in a second. So the colorways I can dye on them are varying a little bit more, which is quite nice. So yeah, Ovis and Heirloom 4-ply are the 2 bases that will be available in the mini skein tiers. And then for the sock set tier, we only have the Ovis sock option. There is no second option. And then to finish it off, for the spinning fiber tier, we have our Heirloom yarn as a fiber blend. So you can actually spin your own Heirloom yarn. But it's the same Exmoor Blueface blend that we have in the yarn. So yeah, those are the yarn bases. All fiber and yarn bases are actually custom spun for woollentwine, so they are completely exclusive, and it's very nice to present, you know, this project to you, because it's like very from my heart. I created the yarn bases for this and the whole concept, and now the colorways. So yeah, it kind of feels like sharing my passion with you, which is nice considering the theme, I guess. So far about the different yarn bases. As mentioned, you can also purchase full skeins with your calendars in the different bases. And just so you have an idea of how they look like, these are obviously mini skeins, but just so you can see the colors. So these 2 are the 2 shades available on Ovis sock. So it's the undyed grey and the undyed ecru. So depending on what you prefer, you can choose either of them or both, whatever you prefer. And then this is the undyed shade of Heirloom. So you can also purchase full skeins of this one with your calendar. So yeah, this is about it. Obviously they will be full skeins. I just showed you some minis for the color references. But yeah, so far about the tiers and bases. I also have a full price list with every tier and base and all these kind of things on the info page. So I highly recommend checking that one out. So you can definitely be prepared for the whole launch situation. Right, let me get to the next section. So regardless of which tier you're choosing for your calendar, there will also be some add-ons. Earlier this year I made a little poll and asked you about what you're looking into when you're purchasing a countdown calendar, and I was trying to make the best of all the feedback I received, which was incredibly, like, it was a lot of feedback. Thank you so much. That was super helpful, especially for me doing this for the first time. But yeah, there will be add-ons, and with these add-ons, I tried to keep it to a very low minimum. So I didn't want to overdo it because a couple of people said that they didn't want to have a lot of things, and I totally understand. So I kind of tried to limit it to a few add-ons. I'm not going to share what they are, but let me tell you, they are small and very useful, and not like some random things. So they are very, very small, useful, and mostly handmade by me. And then there will also be some non-material add-ons. And I know this sounds very cryptic right now, but I was actually thinking that it would be beautiful to not only share materialistic things as an add-on, but also something that comes like deeply from my heart and my tradition. And so there will be some recipes from my traditional festivities and how we are doing it here where I am, just to share some of my passion and pass on some of my knowledge to you, regarding the theme. So yeah, there will be some add-ons, very minimal. I'm not sharing what they are. They are small and useful and not by any means cluttering or anything. You can use them endlessly, so they are also not going to be used up or anything. And yeah, I just hope you're going to be happy and loving them a lot. Now, regarding the color palette, I know this is the most daunting part for most of you. However, there is not a certain type of mood board or anything I can share with you, because I share this in a lot of my videos, but plant dyes and botanically dyed yarns are a very wild nature. So I'm kind of like, I'm creating as I go, and I work with what I have and what I can get. So it's a very wild thing to do. So I'm not trying to achieve, a certain color palette, a certain mood board, but you can definitely, you will definitely see that the palette that I have in mind and that I am creating will be relatively cohesive due to the nature of botanical dyes. They usually go with each other quite well. So it will be a more muted, typical woollentwine palette, if I may say so. So no neons, no extreme shades, but I will definitely include a couple of moody inspo clips in this video in the next section. So in case you're new here and you have never ordered before or have never watched any of my colorway previews, you get an idea of what I usually do. So you can definitely, you're not going to receive any kind of surprises when you just familiarize yourself with my typical palette. So I guess without further ado, let me share some inspirational clips with you. About the colorways, so you have seen some snippets of my typical palettes that I usually work with. The colorways will vary between the different tiers, but there's not 100% clarity that there will be a huge difference between the different base calendars or tier calendars. So just so you know, there might be repeats between them in case you're getting more than one calendar, which I suppose probably not many people would do, but I just wanted to make sure that you are aware of the fact that some, I'm not creating, 36 different colorways. So there will be some repeats. And what I also wanted to share, which might be interesting for you, is that for the smaller tier, so of the mini skeins, so the 20 gram, at the 12 times 20 gram one, all colorways will be solid. There will be no variegated ones. So if you're not really into speckles and variegated yarns, then probably this tier will be perfect for you. And then for the 24 version, there might be a few multicolored ones. I don't aim for like half and half. I'm probably just going to be seeing the palette evolve and then decide how many there will be. But in the 24 version, there will be a few multicolored ones. Same goes for the sock set tier. There might be some variegated ones as well. So yeah, just so you know. And in the spinning fiber tier, all will be kind of multicolored because that's how they turn out when you dye them. With my dyeing technique, they don't go fully solid, but I think that's also the fun of spinning them, that they are not fully solid, but slightly more variegated, I guess. But yeah, so far about the color distribution through the different tiers. Let me get to the next section. So some of you also asked what you can do with a countdown calendar and asked for some inspiration, and I listened, and there will be a curated list of different patterns and options that you can make with the countdown calendar, and I will add it to your parcel when you receive it. Speaking of shipping, let me get to the admin part about everything and how and when and all these kind of things. So first of all, the pre-order for all tiers will go live for the general public, if I may say so, on this Saturday, September 6th at 8 p.m. CET, which is my Central European time zone. However, if you are a newsletter subscriber, you will get an early access. So for newsletter subscribers, the launch will be 2 hours prior, so at 6 p.m. CET. And you will receive a link through the newsletter that you can use to access the product a little bit earlier. So I highly, highly recommend signing up for my newsletter if you would like some early access and if all of this sounds like something you like. So yeah, and that also brings me to mentioning that you can probably imagine, but these kind of calendars, they already have been in the making for some months and I haven't even started dyeing them. So they are a true labor of love, and while I absolutely love doing them and pouring my heart into them, and it has already been so much fun imagining the color palette, imagining the bases, and imagining the packaging, because I'm also, I'm very into packaging. So while I didn't want to overdo it, but I still want to make it feel very special and beautiful to you while still being as sustainable as possible. So it has already been a lot of fun working on this, but yeah, it's a labor of love, and I cannot make unlimited ones. So some of you might wonder how long the pre-orders will stay open, and the only thing I can say is that until I reach capacity, like production capacity, and that is not a whole lot. So with everything being a little bit postponed and later than I actually initially thought it would be, I am limited to how many I can make. So if you're interested, I guess checking in earlier, but it's always better than being too late. But yeah, let me give you a little bit of admin info and shipping stuff. So the pre-order launches this weekend, early September, and shipping will be early November. So it takes me a little while to make these and assemble them and get them ready to be shipped. And shipping, as mentioned, is early November. How all of this will go is that you will receive one box with everything, so no multiple shipments or anything. All of the skeins or mini skeins will be wrapped individually in a box and then shipped by me, and all international orders are shipped with UPS, so even overseas should be there within a week. Well, speaking that from the perspective that I don't know how busy this season will be. However, UPS has proven to be extremely fast, also with overseas deliveries compared to DHL. So everything will be shipped with UPS for international orders, and then for domestic orders within Germany, you can choose between UPS and DHL. And they will be shipped all at once. Economy shipping is not available for this option because the value is too high for these shipments, and I don't want to risk anything getting lost. So yeah, you can have the regular shipping options or even express options for international orders. All of this info will also be on my shipping page. If you need any help with estimating your shipping cost, or if there is any unclarity, always feel free to email me at hello@woollentwine.com or fill in the little form that I put at the end of the info page as well. So yeah, so far. Now a little part about US shipping, because we all know that the world is in a special state right now when it comes to the new US tariffs. So I am able to ship to the US, which I'm so happy for. And I also figured out a solution on how you can actually pay import duties for the new tariffs at checkout. So no surprises when the parcel arrives. So you actually pay the import duties at checkout. They are at roughly 15% with me being based in the EU. But there will be no surprises at, at arrival of the parcel, which was very important to me to clarify that all cost will be included in the cost that you're paying at checkout. So yeah, then your parcels will arrive, duties prepaid, everything should go smoothly, fingers crossed. I mean, the thing is that we can all just work in theory at the moment, because no one has a lot of data or info on how things are going. However, I have had numerous calls and chats with UPS, and they seem very well prepared compared to other postal services all around Europe at the moment. So I have very high hopes that everything will work, and you can trust me, I will do my very best to make all of this as smoothly as I can. So yeah. For US shipping, duties will be prepaid, and yeah, I'll make sure that everything goes very smoothly. Last bit regarding shipping and admin is the payment options. You have two payment options, either upfront the full amount, or you can also have a bit of a payment plan with 2 installments of the payment. The first 50% right at checkout, and then a second 50% that will be withdrawn automatically. Just so you know, you are kind of enabling my shop to withdraw from your payment method for the second amount that you're purchasing. It just comes early October, if I'm not mistaken. So early to mid-October, the second payment will be withdrawn. So please make sure that the payment method is covered by then. However, I wanted to try and stretch the amount, especially with knowing that this is a luxury product, and yeah, just wanted to offer this option. No need to actually do the second payment yourself manually. It will be withdrawn automatically, so you don't need to remember to, manually transfer any kind of amounts or anything. So yeah. So far about the payment methods. As mentioned, if you have any questions or uncertainties, always feel free to email me at hello@woollentwine.com. I will be monitoring my emails leading up towards the launch quite a bit, so I should be replying relatively quickly to your questions. And don't hesitate to ask anything, because I know these calendars can be a bit of a luxury product, and they are also some commitment in time. So I just want to make sure that you really feel confident with your purchase decision and with all the details. So feel free to reach out about whatever, or if I missed any kind of info that was important to you, feel free to email me or use the contact form that I will link here. Last but not least, please place a separate order for the pre-order of the calendars. I cannot add current stock to a calendar order. That would mess up with my stock keeping and inventory big time. So unfortunately, I cannot combine the calendar with any other order from current stock or anything, or an upcoming collection. So apologies for that, but to be fair, the logistical hurdles that come with doing all of this, and dyeing all of the minis and making sure everyone gets the right thing. I just want to make sure I can be very organized and everything can be perfect, and that there are no issues coming up. And I think with adding stock yarn to it, it would be too much of a mess. So unfortunately, this will not be possible. However, you can add the full skeins of the undyed full skeins at the reduced price rate. Obviously, I mentioned that. They will also be wrapped. However, I cannot add any additional stock yarn to the parcel. This is a lot of info, I know. That's why I also summarized everything on the info page, and I highly, highly recommend you to check it out because there's everything summarized as shortly as I could summarize it. So yeah, I highly recommend you to check the page out. And as mentioned, if any uncertainty occurs, always feel free to shoot me a message and an email, and then I can help you out. In general, email is the best way to reach me. I can monitor those messages the fastest and get back to you the fastest via email. But yeah, I guess that is it about the countdown calendars. I'm so excited about this because, I don't know, it already feels like early festive season for me, having worked on this for many months already. So it's actually really fun to do. So yeah, and especially I initially, to be very transparent with you, I initially planned to launch these in July. However, with the whole terror situation in the US and me not wanting to be like unprofessional and, you know, launching something that I don't know if it might cause you additional cost, I wanted to wait until everything clarified. That's why we're a little bit late. However, I'm still like so excited about this project because so much of my heart and passion has already been poured into this, and I really, really hope that you will love it as much as I do. I have been working countless days and nights this summer to perfect everything and make it nice, and even I can also like share a little sneak peek, but you might have seen them in the intro of the video, but make my own start of a potential countdown calendar blanket. So yeah, it has been in the making for a while, and I don't know, I feel so nice about this, and I really, really hope you will have, I hope it can transfer to you that this is a very special project that, yeah, I'm super excited about and just have such a good feeling about. So yeah, I guess without further ado, let me end this episode with saying thank you for sticking around if you've made it this far. And I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye!